How to be more confident. When it comes to self-confidence, there are a lot of different ways you can think about it, but my own personal philosophy sort of has four main pillars. The first pillar is to simply just be yourself. You need to feel super comfortable with who you are, just have minimal insecurities about your hobbies, your passions, just your personality in general, because this will lead you to have a strong foundation within yourself to just start building that confidence up. If I'm feeling super insecure about who I am, then it's going to make it super hard to have that strong foundation to just start building my confidence up. And I think the best way to do this is to simply just embrace what makes you unique. Nerd out with whatever you love. For me, I love WWE. I have a ton of action figures. I have a replica belt. I've been watching it since I was like 10 years old. Legos, a huge Lego collector. I've been collecting it since I was like 6. I love these things, and these are things that I will never be ashamed to show other people. The key is to just be so secure with who you are. That'll just lead you to love yourself even more, and that loving yourself will just lead you to be more confident in who you are. The second pillar is self-care. You need to take care of yourself. It sort of just revolves around this idea that if you don't respect yourself enough to take care of yourself, why should others feel obligated to give you that same respect? And there's a lot of different ways you can take care of yourself, but you need to make sure you're taking care of yourself both physically and mentally. You can't just do one or the other. These are two things that go very hand in hand. If you're feeling good mentally, then it's going to lead you to feel good physically. If you're feeling good physically, that's going to lead you to feel even better mentally. Things just like going to the gym, eating clean, meditating, journaling, whatever. You need to almost just be selfish to an extent. You need to respect yourself so much that your self-care routine sort of demands respect. For example, if someone is working out every single day, 7 days a week, you're automatically going to respect that person just a little bit more because they're showing dedication, they're showing consistency, they're showing that they actually care about themselves, and that you should probably care about them too. The third pillar is you need to aura max. So I sort of broke this pillar down into two sort of sections, and the first one is, you need to be interesting, you need to do cool things, you need to show that you have depth. So for example, like I said earlier, I'm a big Lego collector. I just bought the Lego Ninjago Fire Temple, which came out like 14 years ago. So that's something like I'm super happy, and like if someone asks me about it, I will tell them about like, hey, this is a set I wanted since I was like 6 years old. I found a really good deal. I bought it 14 years later. It means this much to me. And when you're experiencing something that automatically sort of deserves respect, even if somebody isn't really familiar with the area, and that respect should hopefully lead you to be more confident in who you are. The second section of this pillar is you need to looks max. No matter what anybody says, to an extent looks do matter. I feel like everybody has had at least one point in their life when they've looked at like in the mirror and they've had that like, damn, I look good kind of moment. And that feeling, it's just like, you're appreciating how you look. And you want to grow this appreciation for yourself because that'll directly lead you to be more confident. And so like even for me, like I don't really use social media, or at least like I don't really use Snapchat, but I like having it because I love the memories feature because, I'll take pictures of myself and I'm like, damn, yeah, I look good. It's just that constant reminder, appreciate how you look. And so that self-care kind of leads directly right into this, where if you're taking care of yourself, you're going to find yourself looking better and better and better. And you're going to start appreciating yourself more and more and more in the work you're putting in. And when you appreciate yourself more, you're going to have more confidence. And so the last pillar, in my opinion, is a bit unorthodox, but I think it's really kind of useful to talk about. And then this pillar is delusion. You need to almost sort of have this mentality that like the world is yours and you can do anything you want. You are the main character and you are the single greatest person to ever walk this earth. And so some of you may be saying like, isn't delusion sort of bad to have? And to that, I say it's really not. If you're right here with your self-doubt and your delusion is all the way up here, then eventually you're going to meet in the middle at reality, and eventually you're going to be essentially higher than where you were before. Your reality is going to be a more confident you. But I do want to emphasize that like this delusion that you need to have needs to be in moderation. You don't want to be some sort of arrogant douchebag. You don't want people to feel weird around you. So just be super considerate that you do this in moderation, and just be aware of how you're acting around others and how you're making others feel. You don't want to be that one person that people just don't like to hang around because you're so full of yourself. So that was my last pillar of confidence. I really hope this video was a bit helpful, even if it is a little unorthodox. But if you made it all the way to the end, I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Stay positive. Stay safe.